Welcome, everyone. We want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to be with us. Come on, let's get to the root of it.
In these times that we live, we take strides to move forward. We strive to be more, stay strong and be focused. Start a while, we make choices, live or die. Take over starts at the root, and the truth may be hard to swallow. Step one, self-love above anything else. Unlock peace and happiness.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to At the Root of It. My name is Shannon, and on tonight's show, oh my goodness, mind blown. When I tell you mind blown, this information, okay, let me tell you one thing. The show's name is Finding Out What Your Attachment Style Is. Right? Hey, Jen, how you doing? How you doing, Mama? Hey, Dee, how you doing? So, first of all, I was talking to my daughter, and she brought up this thing called attachment styles. And I was like, well, what's that? And she began to explain. And when she began to tell me exactly what it meant, my mind was blown. I never heard of it before in my life, but it made so much sense. And so I asked her to be on the show tonight because I needed her to explain it to other people the way that she explained it to me. Because you know that our mission statement is to create a community of both men and women who are on the journey of self-love and self-healing, okay? So that journey entails getting to the root of all of your issues so that you can be free. That is our goal. That is our mission. And before we get into anything else, I just want to put that disclaimer out there that we are not clinical doctors. This is what we researched, well, she researched and brought it to me, and great information, but we're not psychologists. You know, this is a discussion from different perspectives, but it also puts you into a better perspective of why you do the things that you do and things of that nature. So without further ado, I'm going to present to some and introduce to others my daughter, Jasmine Vincent, and give her a round of applause. Yay! Yay!
Hi, Mom.
Yay! Oh, too much?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yay! How you doing? Now, also, a disclaimer. My daughter is a single mother, so you might hear my grandson. If you do, it's okay. She's going to pick up where she left off, and she's going to keep on moving. So don't get discouraged if you hear Noble in the background, okay? He wants to, if he pipes in, it's because he want to talk too, okay? But Jasmine, just say, let's see what they're saying right now. Hey, doing great, excited for the show. I put, Jasmine. Our cousin Simona said, love my family. We love you too. We love you too, Simona. Hey, Stacks, I don't see you, but hey. So, Jasmine, I just, before we get into the nitty gritty of this show, I wanted you to actually give me an idea of how you even came across this information.
So, you can hear me, right?
Yes. Can you guys hear? Please chime in. If y'all tell me if y'all can hear her, okay?
Okay, so
go ahead.
I look up psychology videos often because I'm trying to understand myself. And so I was just looking through videos, reading titles, and I came across this one. It was interesting because, you know, people tell you to pay attention. People tell you to pay attention to how you connect with other people. And people tell you how to to pay attention to how you connect to other people and how you attach to other people. But what we don't know are the different attachment styles that come with that. Everybody is different. Everybody attaches or connects to individuals differently. Some don't connect at all, and that's one of the attachment styles that we're going to talk about. Um, so, would you like me
So
to
we
just go
have
ahead?
put it up there, let y'all see. It's 4 attachment styles. Good evening. Good evening.
Say hi.
Hello. Everybody say hi. That's my grandson. And look, Jen said, ready for that Jasmine Vincent wisdom, wise beyond her years.
No.
Dee said, good evening. Jen said, hey, Noble. So, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, there are 4 attachment styles. So,
There are 4
Jasmine,
attachment styles. 3 out of the 4 are negative. There's only one good attachment style, and it's secure attachment style. Secure
and I'm going to
attachment
put it up
style.
for y'all.
Secure attachment style is actually the only, like I said, the only positive attachment style that there is. But not only that, only 50% of people actually have this attachment style. So what I want to get into, I want to get into the 3 negative ones, and then we can talk about the secure one because secure is easy.
Right.
So
Okay.
to start, the preoccupied attachment style. This person that has this preoccupied attachment style is normally referred to as the clingy person, the overbearing person. Um, what happens to this person? Oh, what my mom is showing you is how each attachment style views themselves and their partners. So the secure attachment style, they view themselves in a positive light and they also view their partners in a positive light. The anxious, preoccupied attachment style views themselves negatively but views their partners positively.
Now I
So
want to stop you there. I want to stop you there because I want to know if there's anyone that is online right now that has actually done that before, where you see yourself as the negative part in the relationship and your partner is the positive part. Have you ever experienced that? Let me put this back up again. So anxious, preoccupied. You don't think too much of yourself, but you put so much on your partner. Can you relate to that?
um something that's really interesting about anxious preoccupied is that the partner doesn't even have to be all that great, but they will still see themselves as the person that causes the negativity in the relationship, and their partner is on this pedestal no matter how they treat them, really.
So
So
even if the person is as toxic as they come, we can still put that person on a pedestal even though they don't deserve to be there. So Dion said, wow, right? Then she said, I'll say it backwards. Wow. Jen says she raised her hand and she said 100. And Dee says, I have dealt with that. So you have people that actually can relate to what is that one? That one is the anxious,
anxious
preoccupied.
preoccupied attachment style. Now, what's interesting about these attachment styles is that these attachment styles create themselves, or you accumulate these attachment styles through childhood. This is a childhood conditioning that you don't even know is happening. Um, the preoccupied attachment style, they normally feel incomplete when they're not in a relationship. In the relationship, they rely heavily on their partner for validation. Their self-esteem comes fully from their partner and how they feel about them. So, and like we said before, they tend to put their partners on a pedestal. So,
Right.
what happens
So,
when
so the value of them is not actually in them; it's in their partner. Like they don't
what
see
their
no
partner thinks,
value
what they
in
say,
themselves.
it makes them feel better. It makes them feel valued. It makes them feel validated because my partner loves me, because my partner said that I'm great, because my partner, not because I feel that I'm great.
See, now that's key because we're talking about self-love, right? So do we really love ourselves if the only way that we feel good about ourselves is if our partner says that we're good about ourselves? Like I remember I used to say, I mean, I said something on, I did an interview and I said, no, I actually, it was on one of these shows. And I said, when I was betrayed and I went down the wrong road, I realized that I let, which at the time, Jazz, I was talking about your father, that I let his love dictate that I was lovable. You understand what I mean? I let if he didn't love me, then I didn't feel that I was lovable. And we have to really, really pay attention to those signs, you know. Anxious, preoccupied. I believe that I'm that. Okay. And when she brought that up to me, I was like, my mind was blown. Good evening, Tony. Good evening. And Jen says, I've been all of the above at different times in my life. And you can be, because it's levels to this. You know what I mean? It's real levels to it. And it actually depends on the relationship, right? With the other person.
Right.
It could possibly be. I don't know. This is Jazz segment. So, you know, go ahead.
With this attachment style, anxious preoccupied, it is called anxious preoccupied because you are constantly in a state of anxiety and you are constantly preoccupied with the relationship. 9 times out of 10, this attachment style type of person, type of individual makes less money because they're too preoccupied with their relationship to focus on their goals, to focus on their business, to focus on their work, to focus even on their children. What's interesting about this attachment style is that this person actually has a fear of connecting with their children. I can relate, like fully. When I had Noble, not before I had Noble, when he was in my stomach, you know how some mothers would talk to their children, they'll sing or things like that. I had a fear. I never talked to anybody about it. I didn't understand it, but I had a fear. And then when he came out, I still had that fear of connecting with him. So I would hold him, but I couldn't talk to him.
And that right there is like sometimes, like when I was speaking to her, I was and she told me that, I was like, wow. I was like, well, you know that postpartum can last a couple of years. She said, no, Ma, I need you to hear me. And she knows her emotions. She knows what she felt when she was carrying him. And I can only say what is common knowledge to us, and we will automatically say that it is postpartum, right? But if if you're not a person that attaches to people anyway, then and then you have a baby, no, it's not postpartum. So it makes sense. It's just like what we was discussing before about words and how different words describe you other than happy, sad, and mad. You know what I mean? Like there's other components, there's other levels, other branches to our emotions, you know, than meets the eye. And so this is why it was so like mind-boggling to me. And I just want to say something really quickly. Hello, Miss Cindy. Hello, hello, hello. I love you. I love you. I see that. Dion said good evening. And Dee said, hey T. So Jen just wrote a whole sequel. When I tell you that she always writes a book, but it always has some meat and potatoes in it. So I'm gonna put it up and we're gonna read it together. So she said, no, definitely not. If I'm needing validation from my partner, I do not love myself. We shouldn't need validation from anyone but God. Now, that is true, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we don't seek that validation
And she said,
from our partner.
Shouldn't need. She said,
Emphasis on shit. Hey, Robbie on Instagram, what up? What up, yo? Yeah. Anyway. As much as I know who I am in Christ, I've been guilty of seeking validation from others, not just my partner. I'm currently working on that with God right now. I know that I struggle with that, and I can identify when I'm doing it or in a place where I'm freaking low about, feeling low. She said, not freaking, feeling low about myself. So I'm more prone to seek validation when I'm struggling. Okay.
So
I get it.
What she said is very key, because that's the thing. That's the thing about these attachments. It's not just relationship based. The fact of the matter is, if you have issues in your relationships, it's spilling out in other areas. So a relationship is not just man and female. I have a relationship with my mom. I have a relationship with my son. I have a relationship with my coworkers. Relationships are vague. It's not just my lover. So yes, you can. It spills over into that, seeking validation from other people. Not feeling complete if people don't tell you good job or tell you that you're doing something good, or just needing that extra pep to even feel good at all about yourself, that extra reassurance to even feel good at all. That's big and that's key. Something that's also key is that people that have this attachment style, which is preoccupied attachment style, people that have this attachment style tend to attract emotionally unavailable people. We attract the narcissist, the dismissive person, the abusers. We attract those people. Why? Because our need to feel validation, our need to be in a relationship or to have that closeness comes off as
clingy, needy.
Noble is picking every toy that's loud to play with right now. But
it's okay. It's okay, but you know what? But that's what you was about to say, right? It makes us seem, yeah, and needy.
And it comes off as this person is now the prize. As a woman, you have to think about it. And I'm not just speaking on women, but this is, I'm now speaking to women. As a woman, you have to think about it. Am I the prize? What do I bring to the table? What am I contributing to this connection? And what is this connection contributing to me? When you are so eager and willing to give, even if somebody doesn't give to you, you are opening yourself up to be used.
To be used and hurt. So let me tell you something. I want to stop you there, because when she told me about this anxious, preoccupied thing, I really feel like it's a disorder at this time, right? Because it's like, dang. But you know what? The hard part is realizing that she just described me in a nutshell, and when I realized, like I get distracted very easily. If the relationships in my life is not lined up right, if it's going out of whack, my world seems to crack a little bit. And I try to stay on point, but 9 times out of 10, more times than not, now I'm very distracted. And the Bible says when you know better, you do better, right? And so I now knowing this information, I now have to work on closing out and blocking out the distractions in my life, because it hinders us in so many different areas. Okay, so let me just say this. Let me show this. So Miss Sandy said, this is very enlightening. Jen said, good stuff, Jazz. Miss Sandy said, say that, baby girl. Yeah, Auntie said, you are preaching now. And then Jen says, I am an empath and I am attracted to narcissists. My dad was a narcissist. My brother is a narcissist. My partner has a lot of narcissistic qualities. It's wild how true that is. It is. And you know what? But also what I learned when we did the narcissistic show is that when we attract a lot of narcissists, is because sometimes 9 times out of 10, we have narcissistic tendencies as well. So we attract what we are, we attract like we are. But
I wanted to get back to the point
Jasmine, that's so good that you actually said that, Jen, because when she brought that to my attention, I did say, oh, it's kind of like on the spectrum of the empath and the narcissist. You know what I mean? But what did you say to that?
I was telling my mom that so the category narcissist, the person under the category narcissist can use dismissive avoidant tactics, but
which is another negative thing.
But a dismissive avoidant person can be dismissive avoidant and not be a narcissist. So dismissive avoidant can go under the narcissist category, but if somebody is simply dismissive avoidant, they don't necessarily have to be narcissistic. To get back to the anxious preoccupied before we go into the dismissive avoidant, my mom said something that was very key. She said that when I started to explain, because I explained it from my end, but when I started to explain what I was going through, she could relate. This is because these attachment styles are passed down generationally. She has learned to pick up this attachment style because someplace in her childhood, there was an inconsistency in her nurturing. At one point, she may have been nurtured to her needs, her emotional needs may have been met, but then at another point in her life, they weren't. And it was a constant back and forth between nurturing. So then she learned, and this is all she knows. So now she's taking what she knows and inadvertently teaching me how to be this way. She's not trying to. Right. She tried her best to do her best, but she was conditioned as a child. Everything is cerebral. Everything is mental. So even when you're not thinking that you're picking things up, you're picking them up subconsciously. When you went to go cry to your mom and she listened that one time and you felt good, you picked that up. And then when you went back and you needed her and she wasn't there, you picked that up too. It wasn't left. So right. Those constant back and forth emotions, those back and forth feelings of abandonment is what creates this anxious preoccupied attachment. Now, I told you guys that
I just need to stop. In the Bible, when it's something that's really, really good and tasty, they say Selah, which means rest. Let that marinate. Because like Dion said, totally inconsistent nurturing. I had that. Y'all heard my story. Y'all know what it was. So unbeknownst to us. And I remember, I'm gonna say this before I say the unbeknownst part, but I remember saying that when I first started the show, that God was showing me how we were born into sin, but shaped in iniquity. And that shaping in iniquity is what we've learned in our homes growing up. So that shapement is not just the
Hey,
normal
that's
things, the
good,
things
Mom.
that you can taste and touch, right? But it's also the 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 things that you don't realize. Like I I was a child that needed to be hugged, but I never got hugs, right? So, because I never got hugs, I overly loved on my daughter. Okay, like overly loved on her. I hugged her all the time. I told her that I loved her all the time because that was one of the things that I did not receive growing up. And so you just think that that's just the reason why I do it or did it, right? But now I know that it's deeper than that. I wanted to change. I didn't want my daughter to feel how I felt when I needed a hug, or if I needed an ear, if I needed to just talk to my mom. I didn't want her to feel the feelings that I felt. So I changed it, not even knowing that it goes deeper than that. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Like
wow, wow,
you
wow.
try to protect them, but you don't even know that there's something else that you haven't even unlocked within yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you protected me in the sense of giving me hugs, but the cycle still repeated itself with the instability in the home and what I
Instability.
felt in between those times that I couldn't
Yeah.
express myself, or you might not have been there, or whatever the case may be. It was those times. It wasn't the times that I needed the hug, because my mom was
Right.
always the hugger. She was always the talker. She was always the lover. It was the times where things were hard and everything was up against the wall. She couldn't think about how I might have been feeling at that moment, because we had to worry about.
Right. I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry, my grandmother called me. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, so this is something that we inadvertently teach our children. The reason why I've come across this and I've been um, meditating on this is because there were behaviors that I was seeing in my son that I couldn't explain. Why does he act like he has abandonment issues, yet he has not been abandoned? What's going on there?
Right.
We don't realize that.
What was that? Do you remember what that gene was?
I know what you're
And
talking about, but I forgot. I forgot the specific name for it, but it's the gene that's basically like hereditary fears. If you have a fear of water or a fear of drowning, you can pass that down. I forget
right.
what it's called.
So
I think it's
you
like
think
the
that it's on the same
mitochondrial.
lines? Do you think that it's along the same lines as that? Because it sounds like it, but I'm not trying to, you know, yeah, heights too. Yeah. Roger said heights. Yes. I think I gave that to Jazz. Like, no, Jazz likes heights. Jazz is an adrenaline junkie. So she has her dad in her, so you know, she's not scared of heights. So I didn't pass that to her. You know what I mean? At all. But I'm scared of heights.
So there are two perspectives that I want to give on this anxious preoccupied attachment, because on one hand, the person who is dealing with this type of attachment feels like they're such a good person, and their relationship, people just treat them wrong for some reason. They every time they get into a relationship, they're just done wrong. It's always happening to them.
I felt
They
like it's
feel
like a
that.
bullseye on my back because I swear. And it doesn't even matter if it is a platonic relationship or a romantic relationship. It just seems like for some odd reason, it does not go well. And it's like, why? When I know that I'm a good person, I know that I try to treat people the way that I want to be treated. I'm not perfect in no way, shape, or form, but the people who know me know my heart and know that I'm very sincere. And it's never my intentions to do anything. You know what I mean? But it's like, it felt like,
So I can tell you why though.
tell me
I can
why,
tell you
boo.
why. Because like I said earlier, people with this attachment style tend to attract emotionally unavailable partners, which is like kryptonite to the anxious preoccupied, because most emotionally unavailable people will not reassure you.
They won't.
Your emotions
They
are
won't.
your own.
They will let you sit in your unsurety, like, well, that don't got
They'll
nothing
let
to
you
do with
sit in that
because I
confusion.
have XYZ to do. And it's
They'll
about
let you sit in
them.
that confusion. So you're
Yep.
wondering why these people do this to you, why it's just you, and it's not just you, it's the people that you're choosing because of the attachment style that you have. It's not that everybody is treating you wrong and you're such a good person and they're so bad. You're choosing this because of the level of attachment you have.
Right.
If we have a secure attachment style, we are happy with ourselves and others. There's a balance. With these
Right. I
other
just want to,
three,
before, go ahead, boo. I just want to make sure that you give the meaning of each one of these. Okay? I don't want to, I want to stay on it, especially because I don't know how many people are the anxious, preoccupied person. I know that I am. I know I relate to that. But I need people to understand because there's other people who watch the show that's not anxious, preoccupied. They're more dismissive, avoidant, or they're fearful, avoidant. And with the things that go on with that, the work, putting work before anything, and those are important too. Okay,
okay.
so I really,
So
just give me the definition of each of those as well, please, so that we can make sure that we don't leave nobody out with that. Okay.
okay. So um there was just one last thing I had to say about this. I didn't want to skip around. It's
Okay.
just one last thing. So with this attachment style, there's something that this person uses as a coping mechanism. It's called activating strategies. An
Yes.
activating strategy is a coping strategy. Um, it's basically when somebody is feeling anxious in the relationship, they're feeling uneasy, they start to have thoughts or feelings that compel you to be closer. It's like an illusion,
Right.
closer than what it actually is.
Right. So it was saying, like, basically that those activating strategies is to stop somebody from, it's about abandonment issues. So when because you don't want to feel abandoned, you set up these strategies to keep the person there with you. Um or you can use an example like threatening to leave, right?
Yeah.
Even though you don't want them to leave, even though you don't want to leave and you don't want them to leave, you want to get an action, a reaction from that person,
But
right?
threatening to leave is a protest behavior. Threatening, so
Like
they
they,
use activating strategies, which is a strategy to make you feel closer to me. So I'm feeling uneasy, and now I'm starting to think about all the good things. Well, maybe it's not that. Maybe they're just they're actually just doing this, and they're actually really great, and they're actually really abusive and manipulative. But in your mind, you're like, they're actually really great. And remember last week when they came and got me from work? Yeah, that was really nice. And some anything to make you feel closer than you actually are. And then
so you give them excuses, basically.
excuses. So
We give
then,
them excuses, or as your auntie, she just said, we justify. We justify their actions by, well, he's really a good person, or she's really a good person, or she's been there for me in the past, but not realizing or not even accepting the fact that there's been a shift and that there's been a change in behavior towards you. And so now you have to reach back in the recesses of your mind to find a good part of that person to keep you going ahead. But that is a part of your abandonment issues. You do not want to be abandoned. You do not want to be left because, or rejected. I didn't hear them say that, but I really feel like the rejection part is in there too. Like, you don't, it will spark a rejection because of that anxious, preoccupied nature, right? You don't want to feel rejected. The main thing is that you want to be with your partner, that you want your partner to be as close to you as possible. And that anxiousness.
I want to be clear though, Ma. I want to be very clear because each one of these, there's something that it stems from, and I don't want you to mix them up. So the anxious avoidant, their fear is abandonment. It's not rejection, it's abandonment.
Okay.
Dismissive avoidance fear is rejection. And then
go ahead. So let's go.
And then fearful avoidance fear is fear of trusting. They fear trusting anybody. So what happens with the anxious preoccupied is that they go into these activating strategies, and then once their person reassures them, they're okay. They can't calm down until their person reassures them. Now, if their person doesn't reassure them, that's when they go into protest behaviors. They try things like calling and texting nonstop just to get a reaction out of you. And once they get that reaction equals reassurance. So then they feel at ease.
So with that reaction, does it matter if it's a negative reaction or a positive reaction? It doesn't matter. It's just a reaction, period. You're mad, response. You hung up on me? Okay, good, you're there.
Even a response. I sent a whole paragraph. This person can send okay, and I'll feel better because at least they responded.
Right. And they probably didn't even read what you said. But because they said okay, it's like, okay, I feel important again. See, and that,
trying to get somebody jealous is another protest behavior. Threatening to leave when you know that you ain't going nowhere is a protest behavior. I've been there. And then being afraid to attach to your own child. That's a protest behavior. And like we said, it stems from childhood and inconsistency in your nurturing. So now, dismissive avoidance. Dismissive avoidance have an issue with intimacy. Intimacy equals danger to a dismissive avoidant person. The dismissive avoidant person is normally emotionally unavailable. So this person is normally attracted to the anxious preoccupied because the anxious preoccupied is willing to give love with rarely anything nothing in return. They don't require anything in return.
I'm not
avoidant, they fear intimacy. They don't want to get too close. They don't want to get too close. So they're attracted to the person that's just going to give and not require much because they're not requiring that anyway.
That person has now died as of today. What's today's date? What time is it? 9/26. September 26, 2021 at 7:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That person has now just died. I'm telling you. Yes, T. Psh, mind blown. I told you. Mind blowing information. Mind blowing information. I have now identified, and it is no longer going down. I don't care if I gotta write it 100 million trillion times, it's not going down any longer. I'm telling you oh my God. That's why I told y'all. Sorry. I'm sorry. Look. Dion said, "This has changed my life, niece."
That's what the show is about. We changing the trajectory of our generations to come, going forward. All of that. We stopping it now. It's not easy. I'm still
Stopping it
fighting it.
now.
But the first step is awareness. So that's what we doing.
Tam says, "I'm learning so much tonight. I'm gonna be giving everybody advice."
So,
And D said, "It's done. Yes, it's done. Like, oh my God, it's not happening no more. It's not happening. It's not. Y'all, what dismissive avoidance people? Y'all better stay away from me. Or sorry to all my church family that's looking, but I am liable to curse somebody out if they come to me because I'm tired. People take advantage of people because of the attributes that we show them. They know what signs they're looking for. They know what they need to. They know the type of person that they need to.
but that's the thing too, Mom. Before you get into that energy, the same
Okay,
way
because I just got
somebody
mad. You saw my face. I got mad.
the same way somebody can have an anxious, preoccupied attachment style and not know it, somebody can have a dismissive, avoidant attachment style and not know it. So they can do these things and not know that they're harming you. 9 times out of 10, they don't really care because they're not trying to get that invested anyway. But this person, they shy away from feelings, empathy, sympathy, outward expression of emotions because they feel this is weak. Naturally, humans desire love. So the dismissive avoidant person desires love. They want to be loved. It's just that throughout their childhood, they didn't get the nurturing at all. So the anxious preoccupied had an inconsistent nurturing, whereas the dismissive avoidant got no nurturing and got scolded for even crying or showing emotion to begin with. So you have to you have to break it down, and make it really childlike to understand this. And this is why it's so important when you have sons to not talk down on them when they show emotions, when they cry. For instance, stop crying. Crying is for girls. That is messing your child up mentally, and you don't even know it. It's teaching them that they should not feel, they should not show emotions, and that's what grooms a dismissive avoidant. Being scolded
It
for
grooms
showing
you.
any
It's
type
like
of
you put them
emotion.
in an incubator and you're grooming someone to be dismissive, avoidant.
You're grooming, and
And
you don't even. And this
this is
happens in
this
the
is
Black
why we
community.
have to
A
be
lot
so
of people don't
mindful with our
understand.
children.
A lot of people
And
don't
that's
understand.
why, let me tell you something else. And that's why for the parents out there, it's okay to apologize to your children. I apologize to Jazz all the time. And sometimes I apologize. She's like, "Ma, I don't even feel a type of way. What are you apologizing? You must have felt it." I'm like, whether I felt it or not, I just really feel that we have to apologize and take accountability. Although, for the most part, people do what they know how to do best, and we don't get handbooks on how we raise our children. But because we know that we don't get handbooks on how we raise our children, that should be even more reason to be open and say, "I'm sorry." Because
And to
it wasn't
seek for the knowledge.
intentional.
We
It
don't
wasn't
get the
like we
handbook, but
intended.
the knowledge is there.
Are you?
You heard me? We don't get the handbooks, but the knowledge is there. We have to look for it.
The knowledge is there now. Let me tell you something. All I have to do is type something in and I can get the knowledge. But baby, we didn't have that knowledge back then. What is available now was not available back when we were growing up. And even if it was, that saying, if you want to hide something from us, put it in the book. That was the saying before. You know what I mean? So the upside of the internet now is that it's at our fingertips that we can speak this thing. Google, tell me when the blah blah blah, and she's like, "Well, shoot, Google be talking even when we don't be calling her." You know what I mean? So it's so much more information now that I know if my parents even had any of this information back then, they would have did a lot better. You understand what I mean? So that's where the breaking of the generational curses and the different trajectory. Now we can go on a different path. Now we can choose a different course because we know better. So we're going to do better. We're going to speak those things because I can't, for the life of me, continue in this cycle. I cannot. And because I'm pulled in so many different directions at so many different times, I'm a procrastinator at that. So distractions, procrastination equals no money. Look at that. Look at that. And she said that's what, for the anxious, preoccupied. They're the people who don't have the wealth. Let me put that up there so y'all can see this.
Boom. So secure.
Let me take these comments down real quick so they can see the whole thing. Oh, Jesus.
So secure attachment style. Secure attachment style is good in the money area and good in the happiness area. The dismissive avoidant, they're typically good in the money area because they use work as a distraction or as a way to keep their partner emotionally distant from them. The dismissive avoidant, 9 times out of 10, is a workaholic, but they lack happiness. The anxious preoccupied lack in money and happiness because
and
they are always
happiness.
preoccupied.
No more. This far, no further. I'm not playing. I'm so
So now that you have
mind blown.
information, though, it's important to know that you are aware, but also to give grace and mercy because these people are only doing what they know. And their parents only did what they were taught. And their parents only did what they were taught. This is not personal. I had to learn that. This is not personal. This is just what they know.
Right.
This is just how they know to react, how they know to respond to their emotions because of how they were conditioned and groomed as a child.
Mm-hmm.
People assume that the person who is dismissive is happier, but that's not true. In society, the dismissive avoidant attachment style is praised because they don't seem to be bothered by a relationship or by love. But the truth of the matter is they're human. They want happiness, they want love. They just self-sabotage and they push it away because of their fear of rejection. Dismissive avoidants have a fear of rejection because as they were growing up and feeling their emotions, they were rejected.
They were rejected.
Shut that up. That's for girls. Stop crying. That's weak. Stop doing that. Not how are you feeling. Not what's wrong. Not do you need a hug today. Because this is a baby. A baby that depends on you. A baby that depends on you to nurture them. That's all they know. That's in their nature. And we
So listen,
condition
man,
them
I
to
want
be this way.
to. So let's see. Because we got some comments. You know, these people. You know, this is one of them. You know, one of the things that we do here on the show. So Miss Sandy says that is a lot of work for any relationship, but I still find myself in all of these situations with my husband. Wow, I'm out, not doing it anymore. Listen, let me tell you something. Dion says our culture told our boys that. Um, she said tears are healthy in children, not making a child try to express themselves properly is what the problem is. So yeah. Roger, okay, so then Tony says we didn't look for the knowledge because we were fearful. I don't even know if it was that we were fearful or that we didn't even know what we were
That
looking
it was
for.
there.
You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
Exactly.
We don't even know. Like I said, when I did the commercial, do you know what attachment styles is? Nobody knew. My sister-in-law said I thought it was an accessory. You get me? So we couldn't have possibly been fearful of something that we just didn't know. Ignorance. It's just ignorance. It's like, if you never been taught something or even exposed to something, you can't possibly be blamed for not knowing it. You understand what I mean? That's what Jasmine was saying. That's why don't hold things against your parents and stuff, don't hold grudges and don't be angry with them because they didn't know what they were doing themselves,
Right.
right?
So
So, or my son, because I'm
I
a
want to
parent
run through
too.
these dismissive avoidant points though, Ma, because you got 10
Wait,
minutes
wait,
left.
wait, wait. Roger asked a quick question. Is
Okay.
there a possibility you can switch between different attachments?
So yes, fearful avoidant attachment is both of those attachment styles in one. If you feel that you are switching back and forth between these attachment styles, 9 times out of 10 you are fearful avoidant. Um, just some things that I want to run down with dismissive avoidant, and then we can get right into the fearful avoidant. Dismissive avoidance come across as cold, aloof, stoic, but that's really from repressing emotions as a child. They have an attitude that basically they would rather hurt others than hurt themselves.
That hurt
They discard
themselves.
they discard relationships if they feel that the person is clingy or suffocating, or if the person is not up to par, but they do not express their emotions. So 9 times out of 10, when they discard you, you'll be like, "What? Like you just loved me last week?" Because what you didn't know is 2-3 months prior to that, they have already been conditioning themselves and emotionally pushing you away slowly and slowly and slowly. Um,
This
they run
music,
from their
this avoidance.
they run from their own feelings um, when they discard relationships in situations where they need to be vulnerable. So 9 times out of 10, if they're running from that relationship, it's because they were in a position where they were required vulnerability, and it scared them.
So
It
they
scared
were
them,
they were required to show vulnerability.
and it scared them.
Mm.
So instead of addressing the situation head on, they avoid it and they dismiss it.
So is that like a cowardly way of going about things?
I wouldn't want to put a name on that because that's name calling. I don't want a name call. Um, you can have your own
Well,
opinion. You can have your own opinion on that, but we got to remember that this is just
I'm not gonna name call anybody. I'm not, I won't ever do that. The reason being is because of the simple fact that because 9 times out of 10, people don't know that they're doing it, like you said. You know what I mean? I didn't
exactly.
know that I was anxious, preoccupied. You know what I mean? So, but we got 7 minutes, so
So
you got
from
to
the
do
outside
fearful of
looking in, yeah, that looks weak. They think emotion is weak. From the outside looking in, that looks weak. You can't even express how you feel. But the fact of the matter is, I can't call you a coward. I can't call you any of those things because the truth is, this is just how you were trained to respond to your emotions. We are trained to respond to certain things. We have a fight or flight system. You're either going to fight it out or you're going to run from it. We are trained. We're trained. We're conditioned. So,
right.
another thing that they do, and
Your
this
aunt
is this
said,
is called, I don't know, but
did she learn us something tonight? She learned me something tonight. I know that much. Go ahead, boo.
so another thing that the dismissive avoidant does. So we talked about the anxious preoccupied and how they have activating strategies.
She
The
sure was. She sure was, bro. Anyway, go ahead.
the deactivate so
I ain't
the
saying this right.
the anxious preoccupied attachment style has the activating strategies. So the dismissive avoidant does the similar things that the preoccupied person does when they're acting out. What was it called? Protest behaviors. They have the same type of behaviors, but their intent on the result is a little different. So what they might do is hyper focus on petty flaws so that they can emotionally detach from you. Oh, I don't
Detached.
like
Oh,
the
I
way
don't like that
you
because she walked like this, or he chew his food too loud.
you see
So
how
I'm
she
not
wore
gonna
that
do that.
shirt? I don't like the way she wore that shirt today.
I don't like his sneakers. Okay.
Yeah, it's that. Uh, it's
Right.
that
Okay.
picking apart little bits that are really irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't make them a bad person that they have these flaws. We all have flaws, but I'm gonna hyper
All right.
focus on your flaws so that I don't have to
So
attach
I
to
won't have
you
to focus on mine.
emotionally. So that I don't feel too attached to you emotionally. So because if I focus on your flaws, I won't want you.
Right. Right. If
Some
I
more
oh,
deactivating strategies.
wait. That is so profound. You said if I focus on your flaws, I won't want you, which means my boundary is secure.
The wall is up. The wall is there.
My wall
We done built
is
it.
secure. We
We got the
secured the
brick.
fort of our hearts.
I've been
We
building this
secured
for
it.
2 months
Oh,
now.
look.
So now I'm gonna start focusing on your flaws, because
Your
we hit
insecurities. And
see, this is the thing about the dismissive. They hit a level of intimacy. They like the intimacy. They know how to be likable and charming at first, because you got to think a person can't be standoffish and somebody's going to want them. So they know how
right.
to be likable at first. But then once it hits a level of intimacy that fears them, but it makes them feel fearful, because now they are in a position where they may have to be vulnerable, they start to pull back. That's a deactivating strategy. Another one that they
My
do
God.
is they let you know, whether it's through actions or words, they let you know that you are very low on their priority list.
Very
They got
low
things to
through
do.
actions or words. Jesus. Now let me ask you a quick question. Is this the attachment style that overly overly like puts their ex on a pedestal?
Yes.
Um
So
even
that's
though the
another
relationship
deactivating
was
strategy.
horrible, right?
That's
The
another
relationship could have
deactivating
been
strategy.
horrible. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's called the Phantom X. So the Phantom X, in their mind, this person could have been the worst person in the world, but in their mind, their ex was so much better than this. They'll start comparing this Phantom X to the relationship that they're in now to build that wall into.
To build a wall. Not saying that the ex was better. The ex could have treated them like bull, like the dog dung outside. And you may treat that person like, oh, the world. But because they don't want you to get close to them, they will say no. Mm-mm. I'm still in love with my ex. Now you didn't. If you was in love with your ex, you should have stayed with your ex.
You would have
Why
been
y'all
there.
divorced?
It wouldn't have ended. It ended
Why
because
y'all divorced? Why y'all separated? Y'all separated because y'all ain't like each other, or because y'all didn't have nothing in common, or you didn't, or whatever the case may be. So now when it's time to take another step and actually admit that maybe you chose wrong. Maybe you just chose the wrong person. That doesn't mean that the whole female race or male race, depending on who we're talking about here, is gonna do that to you. But because you over dramatizing this chick that treated you like trash,
Ma, do you care
treated
if
you
we
like
go over a
trash.
little bit? We might be like 10 minutes over.
It's okay. I always go over. It's okay. We gonna be on here till we get fearful avoidance out too. Because baby, I believe that everybody needs to understand this stuff. This is put the mind blowing up again. I'll put it up. I'll put it up. I see it. I'll put it up. Because I told y'all. Where is it? I told y'all. This information is bananas. It's bananas. And I'm so happy that I learned to know this. You understand what I mean? And to understand what it is.
So
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it no more.
you know
I'm
what's
gonna be a
really
secure.
interesting?
I need my money and my happiness to line up.
So what's really interesting about this this attachment style is that the dismissive avoidant does this, pushes the person away, all those things, deactivating strategies, jealousy, they'll try to make you jealous, and they'll flirt in efforts to push you away. They do all of these things to the people that are most important to them. The people that hold the most weight in their heart. That's who they do this to. So this person can have an easygoing relationship with a person that they don't really care about, that they're not really in
Huh.
love with. It'll seem like that
And
relationship is perfect,
everything's okay, but they treat the one that they really love like crap.
and they push them
They
away
go.
because
They
that pushes on their emotional button, and I don't want to go there. As
They
this
ghost
person,
them. What they do, they ghost them, they gaslight them, they manipulate them, they put their boundaries up. These are the things that they do so that they cannot, you will not penetrate because guess what you say? Because they do not want to feel rejected. So it's like, I'll leave you before you leave me. I will
because
hurt you before
the
you hurt me.
underlying fear is that I don't want to feel, I don't want to be rejected. I'm not good enough to be loved. That is the underlying fear. They feel that they are not worthy or good enough for love.
And that's so sad because I know right now, this very second, I know a couple of people who has this dismissive avoidance. And let me tell you something. They're the most lovable people that I've met. And that's the most saddest part about it is because they self-sabotage. They want to be happy, but they self-sabotage because they're scared. And I get it. But just like everything in life, everything is a chance. You can walk outside and think that everything is gonna be okay and get hit by a car. Like everything is a chance. Every day you take a chance. You know what I mean? And maybe love is not that high up on the totem pole for most people. But I think everybody needs love. I think that,
If
love
you
covers
are a
a
human
multitude.
being, even mammals, even animals, if you are a living creature, um it is natural for you to desire to be loved and to give and receive love. It's
I
natural.
just kissed like a giraffe. Is a giraffe a mammal?
Yes, a mammal is a creature that has babies. So yes.
Right. No. But right. I know. But I'm just saying because when you said that, even animals, right? And I'm sitting there like, I just saw the giraffe kiss the baby on the head. They show
Or the
their babies
kangaroo
love.
that holds the baby in its pouch.
Yes.
We everything
Nice.
that we know of. So I want to talk about this last thing, and then we'll get into the fearful avoidant. So we've
Okay.
already talked about childhood, but I just want to clarify some things. So in childhood, dismissive parents or caretakers never nurture them. They were rejected when they showed emotion as a child. That translates to if I show no emotion, I will be nurtured. My needs will be met. Um, the baby then takes his needs into his own hands. Now we're talking about a child, a baby, a toddler. I know that if I come to you to get my needs met, it won't happen. So let me try to figure out how to do it myself.
My God.
Um, most likely,
Oh, Miss
most
Sandy said
likely,
it. My God. My God.
most likely, this
While
person
we
was
still
scorned
on
for
here, just to
crying.
say this, like Tony said, everyone here must share, if not already. Awareness is everything. So please hit the share button. Share this with people because this information is mind-boggling, mind-boggling, and it makes so much sense. Go ahead, baby. I'm
So,
listening.
yeah, we already know that they were scorned for crying or told that it was weak. The dismissive as a child doesn't care if their parent comes or goes. And the only emotion that they show towards their parent is anger.
Wow.
So as you get older, this translates to your relationships as well. You don't care if anybody comes and goes. The only emotion that you show is anger. That's in your relationships. That's in friendships. That's in your relationships with your parents. It just becomes bigger. So that's why um, it's interesting that these two um, attachment styles, anxious, preoccupied, and dismissive, avoidant, are so attracted to each other because they are literally kryptonite for each other. This person only shows emotion. I mean, only shows anger. So the person that is looking for that emotional attachment, that's looking for that reassurance, um, they'll start to have other protest behaviors because they know that, well, the only thing that they show me is anger. So let me just say something to make them mad. Let me just do something to make them mad. Because any response
Right.
is reassurance.
It's a response. It doesn't matter.
So that's dismissive. Fearful avoidant. Fearful avoidant is also known as the hot and cold partner. 1 minute you love me, 1 minute you don't. This person never wants to be too close or too far from their partners. In childhood, um, this fearful avoidant child, they really want their parents to fulfill their emotional needs, but they don't trust their parents fully. There's a lack of trust. Fearful avoidance, this attachment style develops when a child grows up in a highly emotionally charged household. Um, where any type of abuse is prevalent, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, verbal. Um, this is how this attachment style accumulates. So in the adult life, it transforms to I need you, but don't get too close. Um, they try to manipulate their way out of feeling trapped or helpless. So they basically all the different tactics that we talked about in the other attachment styles, they use those. Um, they don't they fear that if they trust you too much with their emotions, they might be hurt. They don't feel safe because they weren't safe at home. They might have been abused. They might have seen their mom abuse or their dad abuse their mothers. Um, that's neither one, mom. We're talking about fearful
Oh,
avoidance. So this person, fearful avoidant, they have a negative view of themselves. They don't feel worthy, and they have a negative view of their partners.
so nobody wins with that one.
They go back and forth. Um, so we talked about all of these different types of attachment styles, but we didn't talk about how to fix it, and I think that's very important. I don't know if you want to make that another show or how you want to do
Yeah,
that.
come back next week. Yep. Oh, wait. Can you come back next week, Jazz?
Yeah, I'm off next weekend actually.
Okay. So we are going to continue. Because this information was so good, come back. Give us a little, give us a little of what it is, what we can do.
Oh,
Wait, your cousin has a question.
okay.
She says, so what if you don't start out that way, but as the relationship gets bad, they become fearful, avoidant?
If I believe that if you are being triggered in those
Ah,
ways,
yeah. Love you.
the big
Go ahead.
um the biggest step for fearful avoidant people is communication. Um you have to try to become a better communicator. If you are feeling uneasy, you have to try to communicate that. Fearful avoidance, instead of expressing themselves, they may just lash out. So, say something happens with you and your partner, and you're like, you know what? I knew it. You were pulling away last week. I knew you were cheating. Da 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 da. Last week, you had a feeling that this person was doing this, but you never expressed yourself. So now you're lashing out, and now they don't understand because you're in such high energy when a week ago you should have expressed that you were feeling uneasy.
Right.
The best way to get over that is one, being able to communicate. So you have to know who you are also attached to. If you know your attachment style, that's what I was about to say. If you know your attachment style and you know that you know this other person's attachment style and you know that they don't line up, the best thing about dating, and I could talk about dating, it's different with marriage, but the best thing about dating is the fact that you don't have to stay. That then becomes the choice that you have to make. Am I going to choose me, or am I going to choose this relationship? This person is unwilling to communicate. They're unwilling to understand where I'm coming from or my issues that I have in general.
Now you say like this, no more, won't do it, ain't doing it no more,
If
cannot
this
do it.
person doesn't
Because
want to
once you
communicate,
have the
if you're trying to
information,
make yourself better, you're trying to make yourself better as well as the relationship. You have your own mental issues that you're dealing with. So now you need a partner that, because 9 times out of 10, because like we said, only 50% have a secure attachment style. So 9 times out of 10, they have a attachment style that is unhealthy too. There has to be a willingness. If there's not, it has to end because you will continue to go down this spiral and this cycle. And that is where the self love comes in. And that's where the communication comes in. If there is an unwillingness to communicate, that person is not for you. That relationship is not for you. We are, like my mom said about Paul. Paul said, God, I do what I don't want to do and don't do what I want to do. Take
what I
this
want
thorn
to do,
from me. And God said, my grace is sufficient. That thorn that you have, somebody who loves you, they're willing to work with you. God's grace
they're
is
gonna work with
sufficient.
that
His
thorn.
love will cover the
Love you
multitude of
through
your
your.
sins. If that thorn is what it is, God got that. But if there's a person in your life that cannot accept your thorn or cannot work with you through your thorn, they're not for you.
They're not
That's not
meant
a
for you anyway.
relationship.
They're not meant for you anyway because who God has for you is built for you. It's like you built forward strong for whoever God has for you. You understand what I mean? That they can handle your stuff because and like you said, it's a willingness. You know what I mean?
It's,
But
there's a
no,
balance. There's a balance. This word has been weighing heavy on my spirit for the last couple of days. Balance. There has to be a balance in every area of your life. It is important spiritually, mentally, physically. That's why they tell you to go out for walks and go exercise. Exercise increases the level of dopamine and chemicals in your body to make you happy. The less you do, the more you're prone to be depressed. You have to get out and do something. If you want to change these things, you have to counterproduct the things that you've already been conditioned to do. If this is a mindset can always be switched, but you have to change the dial one by one, step by step. You don't have to go from 1 to 6. You can go from 1 to 2, and that's okay.
Right. Right. Okay, so Roger got questions tonight. So she said, so the fear of abandonment makes you stay? Yes. Because it's the fear that you won't get nobody else. So you say, I might as well deal with it. You know, how's it gonna, I'm not gonna get any better because remember what it said
You
that
don't like yourself. You
you
put them
don't
on a
you
pedestal.
right. Oh man, let me move your comment. It says for the anxious, preoccupied, you don't think too much of yourself, but you sure think way, that they are Superman. You understand what I mean?
Yep.
That they can do no wrong. So,
And then the
we
very first thing that we said is that when you're not in a relationship, you feel incomplete. So, with knowing that fact, that'll keep you in that relationship, whether it's good or bad, because you feel incomplete without it, regardless. So, yeah, you'll
you
stay.
said incomplete, and I just thought about Drew Hill. My life is incomplete. Sorry. Okay, here comes your. Okay, wait. Your cousin got questions, boy. She got questions. So you gotta hold those questions. This is the last question, Ro, because we bringing it back next week. We're bringing it back next week so we can talk about how we can heal from these things, how we can move on from these things. But some ideas, some things that you can put into motion so that you're not stuck with these unhealthy attachments. Because we all need this. We all need this. We all need this. We all need this. Okay, so Roger says, someone said, all your life you're trying to fix what your parents did or didn't complete. Maybe. Yes.
Yep.
I mean, we none of us really arrived, so we have to fix certain things because again, parenting does not come with a book with an instruction manual. What one method works for one child won't work for another child. So you have to find your niche. So this is what she said. It just went up, but she said, so there's a battle between two attachment styles. Well, she said that fearful avoidance, it has both dismissive avoidance and anxious preoccupied together, right? Like it makes up those two, right? So yeah, and look, she said, my bad. Hold those questions, Ro. Listen, this is major. I want y'all to write these down, okay? So the first style is secure attachment style. That's the best. She said only 50% of the population has that secure attachment style. And we must be really honest with ourselves to make sure that we identify where we lay in this spectrum. Okay. The second one, which I've already claimed that this is me, is the anxious preoccupied attachment style. I'm not gonna say what those solutions are because I'm gonna wait until next week. I was just gonna say what I thought my solutions was, but I'm still gonna save it for like the next week. The next one is dismissive avoidance attachment style. And the last one but not least is fearful avoidance attachment style. So I would like to thank everybody for coming and viewing the show tonight. When she brought it to my attention, I got so excited and I practically had to beg her to do this show for me because this was something that I couldn't teach. I couldn't talk about because I didn't know that it even existed. But the way that she broke it down to me made me understand myself so much more that I had to just say, Jazz, you got to do this. I need you to do this because so many people need this and it's vital to our healing process. You just remember that you're never too big to let people teach you. She's my child. You know, I had her. I made her face. You understand? That's an inside joke. I was gonna say I made your freaking face because that's what I really said. But I made her face. But for her to be able to pour into me to get an understanding, and mind you, me and my daughter go back and forth all of the time, boy. We are two alpha females and we have strong opinions. But that's how I taught her. I taught her to have her own mind and to be a leader and not a follower, and for her to be able to articulate her points and her thought process effectively and efficiently. And I think, by George, I think I got it because she really broke this thing down to the nitty gritty. And I just love her so much because she made me aware of so many things. She's gonna make a lot of people who watch this show aware. And awareness, like she says, it starts the healing process. We can all change the trajectory of our generations to come. That was a word that God gave me last year, and it stands for everybody. It's not just for our family, but it's for everybody who wants to heal what is hurt. You know, we enough with the sweeping things under the rug. You know, we sweep everything under the rug, and everybody, the hurt is perpetuated from generation to generation to generation. And the buck stops here, especially for my family tree. Do you see these two people on the screen? This is my extension. These are my branches right here. And I'm not going to allow myself, and she's not going to allow herself for her child to perpetuate these cycles anymore. You see my family tree? That's my family tree. That's who God blessed me with.
Y'all, it's not easy. This is not easy. These are realizations. I'm telling you, was it this morning or yesterday morning? I cried. And I told her, Mom, I need to handle some things. I'm not going to give it to y'all now because that's for next show. But it's not easy to come up to the realization that mentally I'm not okay. And that is
right.
spilling over onto my child, and it spilled over onto me, and it spilled over onto them. It's not easy, but it's something that is fixable. And I'm happy
and
that
necessary.
I'm happy that I got the knowledge now to be able to work on it now. Because Noble's 2.
Now.
I'm glad that it's not that he's not 32, and I'm trying to teach him how to be better.
Right.
So,
or that you're not 44 like your mother and learning this stuff. You know what I mean? You're 23, so you're you way ahead of the game, which was my desire, which was my fervent prayer anyway, that you be better than me. You know what I mean? That was my main prayer.
Letting everybody know it don't come with struggle, without no struggles, and it don't come without tears and hard work. I'm working out here, whether it's work at the job or internally, because I want to be better. I want my son to be better. I want his children to be better. And that's something that I truly want. When you truly want it, you'll look for it. That's the end.
Now I also want to talk to the parents. I just want to put wow, I just saw this, Ro. I just saw this. I just saw it, and I was just about to say it. I just want to talk, I just want to say to the parents out there that, you know, who now realize through this information that you receive, don't beat yourself up. Just like our kids shouldn't beat ourselves up, we have to forgive ourselves too. And that's one of the lessons that I've actually learned today. Like, I beat myself up for the things that I've done in my life, or the things that I felt that I can control, but it was really outside of my control. But I realize that I still beat myself up about these things. And I really have to forgive myself, because I did only what I knew what to do. And what I did was I loved my daughter. I made sure that she knew that she was loved. I couldn't protect her on everything because of circumstances and situations. But I also introduced her to God at a very early age. That's one instruction manual I did get with her. And because God said, for me to guard her ear gates and guard her eye gates. Jasmine was not privy to a lot of things that her peers was privy to. She was in the word. She was listening to gospel. She was listening to sermons.
Mom, I don't want you don't overdo it, because I was a saint for a minute and then I was a sinner for a lot. So don't overdo it.
No. Listen,
like,
even with that.
I was a good child.
I'm talking about child. I'm not talking about the you today. I'm talking about the child. And on top of that, you know what I mean? But even with that, you raise up a child the way that they should go. And when they grow old, they should not depart from it. So regardless of what road or avenue you choose to go down, ultimately, you're going to get back to where you began. Okay, when you get tired of going around that same mountain or going around the same cycle and things of that nature. But because we're getting to the root of these things today and this year and going further, there's a lot of mountains that we ain't gonna repeat. It's a lot of mountains that's done, as Pastor Michelle used to say.
Further. It stops here.
It's gone no further. We're not doing this any longer. So I serve notice on the devil and on anybody that tries to come, and y'all got to understand that people trauma bond you too. You know what I mean? Like, you got to really understand what a trauma bond is. When y'all have similar things that y'all have gone through, and the woe is me. Oh, well, that happened to me too, and that happened to me too. And then y'all trauma bond, y'all stick together because y'all been through the same stuff, but nobody's healing each other. Nobody is helping y'all grow or heal or move past those traumas in your life. So you got to also understand that that's an unhealthy attachment as well. Trauma bonding. When you want to be with somebody because y'all have experienced the same thing. No, you need opposites attract. That's always been the saying. The saying says opposites attract, not like. Like they repel each other. They're not to go together. Understand that. They're not to go together. They repel. Opposites. Somebody that's going to help you with the stuff that you have going on with you, and vice versa. Everything is reciprocal. Everything is a give and a take.
Balance.
Partnership. And when you understand where a person is coming from and what, and not negate, because there's so many people out here that says, oh, you need to let that go. No, that is not healthy. No, I can't let it go because everybody's been letting this stuff go for years, and I'm carrying other people's stuff that they didn't handle from generations. This far, no further. No, talk about it. Okay, I'm sorry, I got a little mad there, but talk about it. Real, because it feds me up. It really feds me up.
It's real. It's real.
And, and I want to apologize for my anxious, preoccupied stuff, because in all actuality, I didn't really show people who I could possibly be because of how my mind worked and how I viewed things. So again, we done. See y'all next week, because we can continue talking and talking and talking. See y'all next week for part deuce of finding out what your attachment style is and how to fix it. I love y'all. Please remember, come on, love on your girl. It does not take anything to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's just a click of a button. A click, just one click. This finger right here, subscribe. Boop. Share. You don't even have to put a description. Just boop. Press that button. Boop. Please. Do your girl a favor. This information was very vital. I love my audience. I love y'all who support At the Root of It. Thank y'all so very much. Till we meet again, right? So, station, same bad time. Bye, y'all.
Peace.
See y'all next.
Welcome, everyone. We want to thank thank you for taking some time out of your day to be with us. Come on, let's get to the root of it.
In these times that we live, we take strides to move forward. We strive to be more, stay strong and be focused. Start a while, we make choices, live or die. Take over starts at the root, and the truth may be hard to swallow. Step one, self-love above anything else.